Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. Today we are going to be continuing with the A to Z makeup series, but now we're on the letter B. Like I did with A, I am going to do two B videos, so this is part one, obviously. Basically the whole concept is that I do a full face of makeup only using makeup brands that start with the letter B. So it will be sort of a mix of first impressions, and I'll also be using a few products that I already have in my collection that obviously begin with each letter as we go through the alphabet. B, I feel like was quite a good letter because I already had quite a lot of B products in my drawers already, but of course because I haven't been buying makeup for a long while, there was definitely a lot of new things that I wanted to buy, so I bought quite a lot of products. So I feel like it's mostly first impressions, but there are also going to be a few just like old classics that I have that I'm going to use in part one and part two of this as well. So I made a little list of all the B makeup brands I could think of, but there definitely is more than this. I feel like it's quite a decent letter for makeup brands. So I'm just going to fly through some of the ones that I wrote down and some of the ones I'll be using. A lot of these I'll be using today as well. So obviously there's Bperfect, which I already have a few products from, Barry M, which is a quite popular brand in the UK. I'm not sure how international they are. Beauty Bay own brand, Bperfect. I have a lot of Bperfect products which I'll be using today. Bell Hypoallergenic, which is an underrated brand that I quite like. There's Bare Minerals, Bobbi Brown. Superdrug has a makeup brand called B, however I do think they've sort of discontinued this now. I think they only do like beauty accessories, but I still have a couple of their makeup products from when they did do makeup. The Body Shop, Beauty Blender, Burt's Bees, Ben Nye, BH Cosmetics, Beauty Bakery, Bourjois, The Beauty Crop. Those are all the ones I wrote down, but there definitely is more than that, so feel free to list any below, any brands that you know, are like hidden gems, or there's probably some really popular ones that I've completely missed off this list, knowing me. The main brands that we're going to be using in part one and part two is Bperfect, Barry M, Bperfect. I have quite a lot of Bperfect I ordered from their website. I've got a lot of first impressions for them. Quite a lot of Bourjois products. I've bought quite a few new ones. I think those are the main brands we're using, but then there's a few just like random ones here and there. So all of my new products in this little box here. So we're gonna get started, and as I usually do, I'm gonna test out the concealer first, and I'm gonna use this as an eye primer as well. For concealer, this is a first impression. I've got the Bperfect Chroma Conceal Liquid Concealer, which looks like this. I do also have the foundation. I know they have come out with like a luminous version of the foundation recently, but I just got the original one because I generally prefer like a matte one anyway. The shade I got this in was N1, which I think was the second lightest. I think there was like a either a W1 or a C1 that was like one above this, but this still looked quite pale. It's quite pale, but I feel like this definitely wouldn't be a brightening shade on me. I feel like that's the sort of shade I'd use more on like blemishes, which is absolutely fine because I mean I still need concealers for that. So, but I'm just going to test this out on one eye because I want to see the coverage as always. Right, we're going to go ahead and apply some on this eyeball. I've heard really good things about the foundation, but I can't remember what people were saying about the concealer. I feel like it was good too. Okay, so that's the concealer applied, just so you can see the difference on a bare eye and the concealed eye. It's done a pretty good job, I think. The shade is definitely something that I would probably not use in the eye area. I'd probably more so use it like on I'd probably use it more on blemishes because I do feel like it does match my skin tone quite well. It just wouldn't give a brightening effect. I feel like it's covered pretty well, but I wouldn't say it's like the most full coverage concealer. Like I definitely feel like I have concealers that are slightly more coverage, but it has still done a really good job. I say like it's bordering on full coverage, but I can still just like on my eyelids see my veins like a little bit poking through and like a little bit of discoloration under my eyes still. So I wouldn't say it's like a super duper full coverage concealer. I've heard the foundation is meant to be like really full coverage though, so maybe like they wanted a slightly less coverage concealer for that reason. I don't know. Looks nice though. I'd say definitely more of a matte finish. It feels quite lightweight though, which is quite nice because it's obviously got good coverage still, but it's quite lightweight on the skin, which is nice. Yeah, I like it. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I quite like it and I'm interested to try that out over foundation. Okay, so I did buy a new eyeshadow palette from Barry M, but I'm going to use that in the second video just because I have a lot of Barry M products I'm going to use in that second video and I'd rather like keep all the brands together as much as I can. So what I'm going to do in this video is, because I have quite a few B palettes, I actually have 10 eyeshadow palettes from B brands already in my collection from before, which I didn't realise there was quite that many. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wheel maker app on my phone. I'm going to input all of those palettes and then spin it, and I'm just going to use whatever it lands on because I don't really have a palette particularly that I'm like, I need to use this today. Okay, I just realised I actually one of those palettes I decluttered, so it's 9 palettes. So I have about 5 Beauty Bay palettes. I've got one BH Cosmetics palette. I've got the Bperfect, the XL Carnival one. I've got a Beauty Glazed palette. And I have like a Body Shop eyeshadow palette that was like limited edition, so hopefully it doesn't land on that one. I hope it lands on something you can still buy. So I'm just gonna spin this wheel and this will be our palette we use today. Okay, you know what, it landed on the Body Shop one, so I'm gonna spin again because I want it to be something that's still available. The nude matte, okay. So that's this little palette from Beauty Bay. This is their nude matte 9 colour palette. I actually got this as a Christmas present from my sister last Christmas. She got me this and like 2 of the other sort of quad Beauty Bay palettes. This is all mattes, so I don't know whether I should like pick a shimmer from another palette as well. I might do, but I'm happy to use a nude palette. I'm happy to do a nude look. Actually, that's good because of a brown kohl eyeliner, and this is obviously going to work really well with a brown kohl eyeliner. So I have used this palette a couple times since I got it a few months back on Christmas, and it is very good. I just think the Beauty Bay quality is very good when it comes to eyeshadow, definitely. I'm gonna go do one eye off camera, I think, just because a lot of pressure to come up with an eyeshadow look on the spot, you know? I'll be back with one eye done and then I'll show you what I do. Okay, I am back with whatever this eyeshadow is. Not very exciting, I realise, but it is what it is. I did also tap into a few shades in the, this is BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. I actually really love this palette. I used it the other day and I was like, oh yeah, that has really nice shimmers in. So I've also used a few shades from that. Didn't BH Cosmetics like go under, but then they came back? Because I'm pretty sure you can still get that eyeshadow palette. I feel like it's still on Beauty Bay. Right, so I'm going to just do this again. I'm just going to top up that concealer. This concealer is definitely got quite like a dry formula, I'm noticing. Just something to bear in mind. I don't know if it's sort of the go-to concealer I'd use as like an eyeshadow base. Like the eyeshadow has blended like fine on top of it, but I'm just noticing it's a bit like drier, so it's like a bit more difficult. So in the nude matte palette, I'm starting with this light brown shade here, and that's just going above the crease. I just realised that these actually have shade names on them. I'm using Cinnamon, which is this darker brown one here. Underneath that. Then I'm using Slow Motion, which is a darker brown, and I'm sort of kind of doing a sort of halo eye sort of placement, I guess, under those shades I've already placed. Then I'm taking the matte black called Illicit, and again, like in the inner and outer third, I'm placing that and just blending. It's quite a good matte black, it's quite punchy. Then I'm taking this light cream shade at the top and I'm just using that under the brow bone to blend. Now going back to the Bperfect concealer, and I am going to do a light cut crease in the centre, like a halo Y sort of style. Okay, so I'm now switching to this BH Cosmetics palette, and I'm using the centre shade actually, which is like a sort of white goldy shimmer. And the shimmers in this palette are really nice. I'm placing that in the centre. This is another palette actually that my sister got me as a Christmas present a few years back, and she actually picks out quite good eyeshadow palettes for me because I really like this BH Cosmetics palette. I'm using this one called Libra, which is a more sort of silvery shimmer, just on either side of that first shimmer. Also using a bit of the matte white in the BH Cosmetics just because it's a bit brighter than the matte I used in the brow bone in the Beauty Bay one. Yeah, another good thing about this BH Cosmetics palette is got a matte white and a matte black in it, and I just think those are like essential for every palette in my opinion. So I feel like you need them with like almost every look. Right, I'm just going to clean up that edge, and I think that's our eyeshadow done. Yeah, so those are definitely not symmetrical, but it's a solid eyeshadow look. So let's move on. As I mentioned earlier, I've got a brown kohl pencil, so this is from Bperfect. It's called Pencil Me In. This is the Solar Flare shade, which is a sort of medium brown colour. As I said in the last two videos, I'm getting quite into brown eyeliners. That's what the colour looks like. I wanted to go for something slightly lighter. It seems really creamy, so I'm going to pop this in my top and bottom waterlines. Ooh, that glides on nicely. Okay, that's super pigmented. It's really opaque. I love the colour because I did want a slightly lighter brown, and it's definitely like quite a chocolatey coloured brown. I really like that. That is nice, and I feel like it goes with the eyes. Yeah, I like that. I brought two new mascaras for both videos, and they're both from Bourjois. I did want to use most of the Bourjois stuff in the second video, but because both of the mascaras I got are from Bourjois, I'm going to have to use one in this video. So I'm going to use this one. This is the Twist Me Up the Volume Ultra Mascara from Bourjois. This is quite cool. I mean, this is really gimmicky, don't get me wrong, but you twist the lid and like the wand, like it gets shorter and it gets like extra like these twisty bristles in it, and I do think that is quite cool. Like I'm a simple person and this pleases me. So I'm gonna just whack this on my top lashes. I think what you're meant to do is use it like that first, and then you twist it and use that afterwards to like build up more volume or something. So Bourjois used to be Bourjois, like a few years back, it used to be like widely available in like Boots and Superdrug in the UK, but then it got discontinued, but then it's come back recently. Even when it was discontinued though, you could still get it on like certain websites, so I got all of these products on Natino, which is a makeup website in the UK that I use a lot. I got most of my Bourjois products from there, but it is in Superdrug and Boots again, which is good. But I do remember back when it was widely available, a few years back, I do remember I used to quite like their mascaras. So I have high hopes of this. Right, so I've applied it on the side. I used it both ways with the full length and the twisty bit. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, it's quite thick, as you can see, but I do feel like it could be more like lengthening and volumizing. And it's also like, it's kind of sticking my lashes together a bit in a weird sort of way. Like, it's a bit clumpy. Like, I feel like there's good clumpy and there's bad clumpy. And I feel like this is bad clumpy. I don't know, like, it's still done an okay job. I don't know if maybe my lashes are just like shit today or what. I'm not hating it, I'm not like falling in love with it though. But I'm gonna carry on and apply it on the other eye. Yeah, I mean, overall I feel like it's a good mascara, but not great. Like, oh god, these two lashes are just, it's just making a lot of my lashes kind of get stuck together in weird places. But I mean, it has like, it's definitely like done something. Like, you can, it has made my lashes like bigger and thicker and stuff. It's just, I don't know, I'm not like, mixed thoughts. Okay, so we're gonna move on to base now. I got a new primer. This is from Bperfect. This is the Ekin-Su Radiant Glow Luxurious Multi-Use Skin Perfector. I got the 01 light shade, so I know it's like in collab with that girl that won Love Island. I don't watch Love Island, I'm sorry. But I did like the look of this product, so I brought it. I did also buy some of the luxury half lashes that she also did with Bperfect, but I'm not going to use them in this video, but I thought they looked cool because I do love a half lash. So much better than a full lash. But I'm assuming that this is meant as like a primer, so I'm going to give it a good shake because it does say to shake well before use. And I'm going to just smother it all over my skin. Ooh, it looks really like shimmery. Quite like a peachy colour. Ooh, it smells amazing. It smells like coconutty. Very summer vacation vibes. I'm just gonna rub this in to my skin. I mean, that's definitely very luminous. I did say with a lot of these like base products that you could like wear them on their own, but I would never wear that on my own because like it just makes me look really oily and like emphasizes all the texture. But as like a primer, I think it's quite nice. It feels quite like smoothing as well. Like, it definitely looks luminous, but it feels like mattifying. It's kind of one of those sort of hybrid primer things. I can't get over the smell. It smells amazing. Like, I feel like I'd wear it a lot just for that reason. It feels quite hydrating too. Like, it feels like it's starting to sort of mattify on my face though. For foundation, we mentioned it earlier, I've got the Bperfect Chroma Cover Matte Foundation. I know they have come out with a luminous one recently, but I wanted the matte one. This is in the shade N1. Was that the same shade as the concealer? I think so. This looks paler than the concealer though. Yeah, I think my pump is broken, so I'm probably just gonna have to unscrew it and like lather it on my face that way. But it's sort of okay because I can just sort of take it out like that and put it on. Like, this is definitely paler than concealer, even though they're in the same shade. Yeah, this is definitely paler than my skin, but that is okay because I have a feeling the powders we're going to use might be a bit darker, so it should all work out in the end. But that's definitely a bit pale for me, but the undertone seems fine. Let's whack this on. I've heard this is a full coverage, so I may have put too much on. Who knows? But I'm going to blend this in to my skin. Okay, as you can see, obviously it is a little bit too pale for me, but I can fix that. That's the sort of thing I can work around. I feel like it's much... I feel like if a foundation's too light for you, it's way easier to work with than if it's too dark for you. It definitely is really good coverage, I would say. Like, I would say that it is full coverage, like it's covered. I've heard a lot of people say it's really full coverage, and I definitely feel like it does meet that expectation. I would say, I wouldn't say it's like really matte, like it's definitely more matte than it is dewy, but I'd say it's sort of like semi-matte, leaning more towards matte than dewy, but I wouldn't say like this is a really dry foundation or anything. It's definitely like heavy, like it's not lightweight, like it looks like a foundation. I think the fact that it's pale obviously makes it look more harsh generally, but I think it looks nice though, like it's pretty smoothing. I think it looks nice. I've not really got major complaints about it. I feel like it's going to look a lot better once I've like set it down and this, that and the other. I don't really feel like I need more coverage. See, that looks really dark, like the concealer, when you compare it to the foundation. And like, yeah, this is N1 as well. And yeah, they were both N1, but this is definitely darker. But I mean, like it'd be fine on blemishes, but I feel like under the eyes it's not the best shade. But then I feel like because it's quite pale, it's probably okay to use it today because it should deepen the foundation slightly. But I'm just kind of adding a bit of this. Other than the colour, I think the base, it looks nice. I'm definitely like very covered. For powder, actually, I've got 2 new ones to try. So I decided to buy the Ben Nye Banana Light Luxury Powder. I know like a few years ago, Ben Nye, I know like years ago these Ben Nye like powders used to be quite popular. I got the Banana Light shade. I feel like I'm worried it looks a bit deep. I feel like it looked lighter online, but again, for today, that's not really an issue. And I did also get a pressed powder from Bperfect. It's the Lockdown powder, and this is the 2.00 shade. It looks pretty fair. I'm going to just get a empty lid, and I'm going to tap some of this Ben Nye powder into it, because the lid that you get with it is tiny. I need more room. It's not really dark, but I don't know. I mean, it should be fine today because my face is very pale now. But we're going to use this Ben Nye powder and set the under eyes. Yes, definitely very strong yellow tint to it, which is fine today. But I don't know how well this colour is going to work on like a normal base. It's quite a lightweight powder. I feel like it's taken away a bit of coverage though, like right under my eye. I don't know, I'll wait until I've like applied all my powder and we'll analyse it further. Right, I'm going to move on to this Bperfect powder, and I'm just going to use a brush and set the rest of my face down. Again, I'm not sure what the colour is going to be like with this. It almost seems a little bit cooler in tone. Okay, my colour match is definitely a bit better now that I've used that powder. I do feel like it's deepened everything a bit. The finish seems pretty nice actually. I feel like everything looks pretty smooth. I'm slightly worried about the Ben Nye one under the eyes, but I feel like once I've wiped away the excess, like it looks fine now. And it's sort of blended into the other powder quite well. I feel like overall base is looking fine. Okay, we're going to use some cheek products now. I have a new bronzer, Bperfect again. This is their Fahrenheit bronzer. Mine's in the Ignite shade, which I believe was the lightest one. It looks like this. And our face is quite flat right now, so we could definitely use some chiseling, some warmth. So let's give this a go. The shade looks pretty decent. I don't know if it's going to be maybe a little bit deep. We'll see. But I'm just going to whack this in my bronzer spots. It's done a pretty decent job, like the formula seems nice. It's maybe like a tiny bit deeper than what I go for, but it's definitely a completely workable shade. It's blending out nicely. I quite like that. Probably not going to become an all-time favourite bronzer, but it's pretty decent. Also got a Bperfect blush. These are the Scorch blushes. I got mine in the shade Melt, and it's a really pretty pink colour. Looks like this. And I'm going to whack a load of this on my cheeks. Now that my base has kind of had time to settle, I am actually quite liking it. It's definitely a heavy base, but like it looks really like it looks quite flawless and smooth. And the powders have definitely brought the colour a bit better down to earth. So I'm starting to like the base now. So I'm whacking some of this blush in my cheeks and a bit on my nose. Ooh, I like that. That's a pretty colour. It's definitely quite an intense pigment. The shade is really pretty. I really like the shade. I put a bit too much on, but that's okay. The thing is, if you put too much blush on, I find like even if you don't blend it out, like it fades over time anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you put too much blush on. But it's blending out pretty well, saying that. Yeah, I really like that. That's a really pretty colour. It's blending out nicely. Good pigment. Yeah, that's a very pretty brush. I like blush. I like that a lot. I didn't actually buy any new highlighters for either of the videos, just because there wasn't anything I really fancied, and I already have quite a few B highlighters anyway, so I'm just going to go through them and we'll pick something out. Actually, I have quite a lot of B highlighters already in my collection to choose from. So I have a BH Cosmetics highlighter palette. This is the Blacklight Highlighter 6 colour palette. I used to be obsessed with this when I got this. I still like it. That is a really nice palette. I've got a Beauty Bay highlighter. This is a powder highlighter. I've got the Flash shade. I really like this too. It's beautiful. I have one from Bell Hypoallergenic, which is the face and body illuminating powder. I've actually hit pan on this one. I really like this too. I would buy this again. It's a very beautiful highlighter. A classic Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Pearl. Obviously Becca doesn't exist anymore, but I still have this guy. Probably not for much longer, as you can see. RIP, but this was lovely. And I also have a Bperfect highlighter, which I brought a while ago. This is the Polar Vortex, and it's quite a it's a bit deeper, but it does translate on the face quite nicely. I'm thinking because we've used so much Bperfect, I feel like I should use the highlighter as well. I feel like that makes sense. I really like all of those highlighters, but I'm going to use the Bperfect one just to be cohesive with all the other Bperfect products we've used today. But this is a really nice highlighter. It's probably a bit of a deeper shade than what I usually go for. It is the lightest one, I'm pretty sure. But it does look nice once it's on the face, so I am going to add this one all over. I actually might try out the setting spray next. This is the Bperfect 1G Free Longevity Prep Set and Refresh Facial Mist with the weirdest packaging ever. It was out of stock. I know it was out of stock for quite a while because I think it was getting a lot of good reviews. But as soon as it came back in stock, I was like, yeah, I'll have it. I'm going to put it on now just to sort of help my base sort of, you know, do its thing. Another quite nice smelling product. It felt very refreshing, very hydrating, which I probably needed with that base. So let's waft that in. And obviously that was a really hyped up setting spray, so I'm not amazed, but I never feel amazed by setting sprays anyway. But it does feel really nice, hydrating, smells nice, feels refreshing. So it's tick for boxes, I guess. I don't know if it helps with, it does say longevity, so I assume that means it is going to help with wear as well, but obviously I'll have to wait and see. Again, I don't have any new eyebrow products for this video. I did buy a few, but I'm going to use all of those in the second video because they're all boudoir products. But that's okay because I have brow gels and brow pencils to use. Okay, well I already have 4 brow pencils from B brands, but I've only actually got 1 brow gel. Well, I've got 2 of the same. It's the Benefit ones. I did have the Beauty Bay one as well, but I ran out of that, so I threw it away. But we got 2 of these. Benefit Give Me Brow. I feel like most people love this brow gel. I love this brow gel. I would buy it again. I've got 2 shades. My 5 shade is like almost run out. Like I mean, it's really old as well. Like I should have gotten rid of it a long time ago. I'm going to use my 3 shade, which is, I prefer the colour of 5, but this product has more life in it. So I'm going to brush this through my brows. I've got 4 B brow pencils. I've got a Beauty Bay one, I've got a BH Cosmetics one, it's a duo brow pencil. I've got a Bperfect, the Indestructor brow, and I've got the Benefit Precisely My brow pencil, and I think I'm going to use this one just because we've used the gel, so I might as well use the pencil too. This is also in the number 3 shade, so I'm just going to use this to add a little bit more definition. Okay, we're gonna go back to the eyes and finish those off. I'm gonna put some of my Bperfect highlighter in my inner corner. I'm basically just going to use the same transition shades we used earlier from this palette on the lower lash line. Putting more mascara on the bottom lashes. Okay, so lastly, lips. I've got 2 new lipsticks to try. One is from a brand that I forgot to mention earlier called Bio Nike, which I'd never heard of until I found this. I got one of their lipsticks. It's the Soft Matte Defense Color in the shade 801 Nude Voice? I don't know. Packaging looks like this, and that's what the colour looks like. A sort of rosy nude, and then I also got a Bperfect, I don't know what they're called, I think they're one of their matte lipsticks. The shade is Mood, and it looks like that. So I want to try both of these. I'm going to try the Bio Nike one first, and then I will wipe that off and try the Bperfect one. It smells like vanilla, matte lipstick, you know the drill. Okay, I really like the shade. The only thing is like the way that the thing is sort of pointed like this, it does make it a little bit difficult to apply. But I actually quite like the formula. It's not ridiculously matte, but it's quite matte. The colour's really nice, it's very opaque. I haven't applied it well, but I think I actually quite like that. I really like the shade. It's definitely a Your Lips But Bare shade for my skin tone. I quite like that actually, that's really nice. I'm actually quite glad I picked that up. That's a very pretty lipstick. I am going to wipe it off though and try the other one. Okay, I'm going to try out this Bperfect one now. Okay, this one feels really like heavy on the lips, like it really drags when you're applying it. but it's still quite creamy. It's like creamy but like dry at the same time, which is weird and doesn't make sense, I realised. I don't feel like the colour's like super opaque, like it's quite, like, as you can kind of see, it sort of like emphasises like all of the sort of cracks. I don't know if that's the colour or the formula or both, but I'm not super keen on that. I definitely think I prefer the Bionite one. In fact, I think I'm gonna wipe this off and put the Bionite one back on just to finish this off, because I think I prefer that, like formula wise and also colour wise. I feel like the shade's a bit, like, I don't know, I'm just not sure I like the undertone of it. Yeah, I'm not sure about that Bperfect one. This one though, I'm gonna put this back on because I like that one. Okay, so I've pretty much applied everything. I'm just need to clean up the giant mascara smudges I've got going on and do something with my hair, and I'll be back to discuss things further. Okay, so we're back with the finished look. This is a full face of B products. I think it's turned out okay. It's not my favourite makeup look I've ever done, but it is a makeup look. To run through like the new products that I tried, the Bperfect eyeliner and the waterline I really like. I really like the colour. Very creamy, very pigmented. Mascara I like. I think it's decent, but it's not my favourite. I just find it a little bit clumpy, but I do think it is like above average. Like, it's a decent mascara. Like, as you can see, like it has given some volume and some thickness. It's just not the best mascara I've ever used. The primer was pretty nice. The foundation was pretty nice. The coverage was great. It's a little bit heavy. Like, my base is definitely not lightweight today, but I did like the finish of it and I did like the coverage. The concealer was decent. Probably not one of my favourite concealers, just because it was a tiny bit dry, and it could just have been fuller coverage. Like, it was pretty good coverage, it wasn't super full coverage. I liked both of the powders. I liked the bronzer and the blush, the new ones I used. I thought those were good. And this Bionite lipstick I really like. I really like the shade, and the formula's quite nice as well. But the Bperfect one, didn't like so much. And the setting spray is quite pleasant. I like it. So overall, I think we've tried some really good new products, and I've obviously just used a lot of like old favourites as well. But I have got more new products to try in the next video. I have an eyeshadow palette, which I'm quite excited to try. I've got a lot of Bourjois and a lot of Barry M products. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that one. It will be my next upload. But that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.